When you look at Everton and they're down there fighting for their lives, they've won 7 and 29. Little mistakes?
Yeah, they're not little mistakes, they're huge mistakes. And of course, one leads to another. And, you know, you've got young players playing in the back line particularly. I think it's important to get the right sort of experience within the team. I thought Coleman sitting on the bench was one I wouldn't have gone with, as much as I respect Kenny now emerging. But the likes of Ben Godfrey, they really do need senior people around. And I can sense that he was playing with fear the other night. Fear is all around him. Almost an accident waiting to happen. Maybe a senior player around him which keeps him calm, tells him how good he is, keeps believing. He was relegated last season with Norwich. He's carrying that around with him. The ball comes in the box last minute, bang, he makes a mistake, and the game is over. Okay, Richarlison could have finished the game off. Brilliant under pressure for the penalties. But in those moments, you've got to do better in the final third. There are moments when he's digging balls out, crosses to Calvert-Lewin, and he needs a step ladder to get anywhere near them. The bits of quality need to improve. There's definite, got to keep your heads, but the pressure that they're under now, Manchester United, I'm there tomorrow. I'm just hoping that the Goodison effect, I'll be impartial, as I try to be. Manchester United coming to town, they've got problems of their own. But it's hard to see where that win is going to come from. I think Allen, I'm not sure if he's available. That's important. They need to get him back into that midfield. But when you look at their fixtures, Jim, when you've got Leicester, Liverpool, Chelsea, Leicester again.
Oh, yeah.
Then you've got Watford, of course.
Who tried.
So these are all very difficult. And that, you know, a draw you would have felt much more comfortable. But to have lost against Burnley opens the door for them now. Burnley just need to win a couple of games.
I'm quite sure Lampard was saying to them, no mistakes, cut out the mistakes. Martin, unlike Simon and I, you have been there, you've done it.
That's like holding a gun to your head, isn't it?
What do you do,
know you're
Martin,
going to make a mistake.
But what do you do in it? You've played in these high stakes games. Do you constantly say to yourself, don't make a blinking mistake. Do not screw up here. Don't make a mistake.
The biggest mistake you can make is to be afraid to make one, Jim. Like Simon doesn't bother Simon, does it? He says lots of things here that are wrong. But he doesn't worry about making mistakes, which is probably why we won this award. But if you actually, you know, you've got to go into every game believing in yourself, and that comes from the manager, it comes from everybody around you. When you start to lose that belief, and you start worrying about making mistakes, you're going to make them. So go out there.
So Godfrey was terrified he was going to make a mistake.
I felt I could sense it in him. I'm not saying he hasn't got the ability, but there's a nervousness about him. He likes to run forward. They play him off at fullback to get rid of that kind of what I would call nervous energy.
The tragedy for Everton is that Martin's point is relevant about the experienced players, but the experienced players are making as many bleeding mistakes as the inexperienced one. Seamus Coleman made a mistake earlier on in the season against, I think, Watford, to let them back in the game. Michael Keown made a mistake the other day against West Ham to get himself sent off. The senior players are actually worse than the less experienced players. Michael Keane's played 250 Premier League games. He's a liability for Everton. Seamus Coleman's legs are gone. There's honesty about them, but Frank has got a dilemma in his hands.
I still think there are things that Michael Keane can improve upon. I always look at him and
absolutely.
I look at him in his stance. His feet are so wide apart. No, feet close together. Then you can put those little adjusters in, and you can actually change direction, or you can deal with the ball that comes across the box quickly.
But man, we're almost at a stage it's too late for all this. Body positions.
No. There's detail.
Games to go.
Jim, it's detail. It's the team that will work on the training ground, and stop looking at the fixture list with the team that stays up.
Well, he's right.
Concentrate your minds on working every day. Forget about the fear factor of the fixture list and who is against. Get it right on the training ground. Obviously, there's a young manager involved in all this as well, with young staff. So they've got to find a solution. They've got to be happy with what the formation they're looking for and the players they want to use. Calvert-Lewin's back in town. Richarlison's there again. Okay, let's start to build and get the best. But they've also got to play with their heads. And it's almost a bit. Richarlison has been a promising player. Now it's time to produce.
Simon said that Calvert-Lewin's a one-season wonder. You've just said
no, I don't believe that.
Calvert-Lewin, you've just said Calvert-Lewin needs a stepladder.
Well, he needed a stepladder to get on the end of some of those balls. Let's give him a chance. And it looks like he's getting fit on the pitch.
He's getting a chance. He had a chance the other night.
Have you seen the statistics about shots on target against the goals that he's scoring and how many times he hits a target? Because it's currently pretty poor.
Yeah, but okay then. So if you're working with these players, do the management adopt the same attitude as everybody else? You've got to keep believing in the players, haven't you? In order for them to reproduce and find good form again, you've got to keep believing, because that's how it is,
but
guys.
There's no evidence that Frank isn't doing that. I mean, you're absolutely right. It's like the amateur golfer and the professional golfer on the 18th tee. The amateur golfer says don't hit the water hazard, don't hit the water hazard, and the professional golfer says hit the green. You hit what you see. So you don't go into games with fear. But the thing about sport, as you know better than both of us in this room, is the psychological approach that you have to it details how you're going to how you like to have an outcome. But the psychological approach is the key conundrum, because Everton are losing game after game after game after game, and it's all well and good say, okay, positionally get better, eliminate the mistakes, get yourself into a situation where people believe in you. Do you think Frank Lampard's sitting on the training ground going, you're crap, you're crap, you're crap, and you're crap? He's going to be sitting there giving them real boosts to try and build them up, because he's been there himself. But the players themselves have got to take some responsibility for the ability to overcome adversity, and they don't seem to have it at Everton.
It will be said to James Savunda,
that's true.
It's just little mistakes.
Of course it's about mentality.
No, it's not.
It's about mentality. But what I'm saying in between, that's draining when I mean, okay, this game's coming up very quickly, so there isn't time in this instance, and maybe it's the best thing for them. No time to think about it, no to wallow in that disappointment. There's a game coming up straight away, but it's Manchester United, and they've not without their own problems either.
Absolutely.
So is that a good or a bad game for Everton?
I think it's a perfect game.
I do too.
But what it is about really believing in each other. And if you start looking around that dressing room and you start doubting the people you're working with, you're in big trouble. You almost need to have amnesia and forget what happened and look forward and say, okay, we can do something with this group and we can make it happen. And where are those players that are going to stand up? And
I know you really like Everton. It's a bit unfair, but I'll do it. Do they survive?
Well, it's in the hands of the gods. It's not almost in their hands now. It's in Burnley's hand, because they've got winnable fixtures.
Yeah,
they've got games. They've got Norwich this weekend. Now, I wouldn't back against Norwich winning that. It's so unpredictable. But you look down through the fixtures. Last game of the season, Newcastle, at home. Is that the one that turns it around? They got Watford away. So they've only won before this win 3 games this season. And they won a 4th, obviously, by beating Everton. Win 2 more, make it 6, and they can stay up.
But the pressure switch.
That's how ridiculous it is.
But the pressure is a big part of it. And pressure switches to Burnley now, because Burnley have got a job done on Wednesday that put them into a situation where now they've got control of their own destiny, and they will be expected to beat Norwich in this game. There will be an expectation amongst Burnley fans and Burnley and Sean Dyche and the football world that there's a distinct possibility they'll go and beat Norwich because they're poor. Everyone will expect, because it's Man United, not taking into consideration that Man United are bloody rubbish at this moment in time, that Everton are going to get beat. So everyone would expect to see Burnley out of the bottom 3 by the end of the weekend.
And that creates a pressure on Burnley. And the difference is Burnley will play with tremendous belief, because they keep thinking they can still do it. They never give up.
Jim White and Simon Jordan, Monday to Thursday morning, 10 till 1. On AM, on DAB, via the talkSPORT app and on your smart speaker. talkSPORT.